Well, hello, everyone. Peter Dennis here. And today with me is Robin Jelinek. Robin is a channeler, and it's my pleasure to welcome her here today. Robin, welcome.
Hi, Peter. Thank you.
Robin, you've been channeling now, you tell me, since about February. And so this has unfolded rather quickly for you. How has that impacted you so far?
Well, there's a lot of aspects to it. In the beginning, there was, I would say, a lot of angst, wondering how it was going to fit into my life, how it was going to affect all of my relationships with family, friends, who would think I was crazy, who would believe me, those types of things that go through your mind. As time's gone on, it's gotten better, I would say. There's still always some angst or worry about who to share it with, when to share it, those types of things. I do get some assistance, I would say, from the group. They usually let me know it's okay here, it's not okay here, that type of thing. So I kind of know, who I can be open with. But there's definitely a worry about how you're going to be perceived, a little bit of hiding that goes on that you have to overcome. And I would say I've definitely, in just the short months that I've been doing it, gotten better and a little bit more open about it. I'm doing this with you, of course, and I've got a podcast out on Anchor, Athena in Truth, and I have a website now. I've done a lot of sessions for people, so the confidence that way is growing. And it's just an ever evolving, it's getting better and better as time goes on. But there are definitely, navigation places, or especially with family. I've done a lot of sessions with my children and, one that's married. And it's just really difficult to address things that are of a personal nature and make sure that I'm not painted with the same brush that the information is coming from, let's say that. And so it's just been a learning process. And like I said, I've only shared it with a few people that are close to me. And most of the other people that I have had interaction with are people that don't know me, I would say.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty common among channelers. And of course, it's so unusual. And thinking about it, if you can imagine going back in time a few centuries, you'd end up being executed for behaving
Exactly.
this way. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, so I imagine we've all got that reluctance. I do. I've had 40 years of business or more, and certainly bringing up some of these spiritual concepts and things, I have to pick and choose which arenas and which individuals I'm going to bring them up to.
I think it's important to remember that it is a form of, I don't know if I'd call it religion, but it is a spiritual belief, let's say that, and that you don't want to push that on anybody or invade anybody else's belief system or make them uncomfortable with what it is that they believe in. So I think that's where the discernment comes in. It's not necessarily hiding for me all the time. Sometimes it's just respecting other people's beliefs and values and not throwing something at them that maybe wouldn't align with that. So I think that's important to remember in this line of work that I'm in, that, everyone has their belief system and they're entitled to it. And you can't force something onto somebody that you believe is the truth, because everybody has to be allowed to come to that place on their own.
Yeah, and the beings say that as well. They're not here to prove anything. They're here to offer their perspectives, and sometimes in the form of guidance, but they often say, discover your own truth and run with that. But if the content of what they're delivering is helpful, then by all means use it. But if it isn't, find something else.
That's exactly true. And I would tell you, of the people that I have done work with, it is helpful. I mean, they discover a lot about themselves. It helps them get out of places that they feel that they weren't able to grow in, that they've been stuck in for a long time, patterns of behavior that just keep over and over again, that they sometimes don't understand. And so these consciousnesses, what they call them, of whether it be control or anger, whatever it is that somebody's dealing with, sometimes they don't really even know themselves why they keep repeating or having repeat experiences. And that's what I found the group to be the most benefit in, is really assisting them in seeing what is holding them up, and then helping them to remove those so that they can move on from it.
Yeah, and it's really satisfying, or it must be for you as it is for me, to see people kind of awaken to more of what they are, to more of the bigger picture, and to start, taking back their own power and, creating their own life.
It is. It is really a wonderful experience when that happens. But there's also the other side of it, where you can meet with a human that's really stuck in it, and they get mad, and they don't want to receive the information. And it's difficult as the channeler or the person that's bringing it to them to keep themselves separate and not worry about how they're going to think about them as a person, if they're the ones that are responsible for it, if they can really grasp that it's not coming from me, it's coming from a higher consciousness. And so sometimes that's really difficult as a channeler to sit through that. I had one situation where I was in a session, and a piece of truth came out, and the person asked to stop the transmission. And then immediately Robin came back in, and I just felt this moment of discomfort, really felt responsible, kind of like I was responsible. And so I know that happened for a good reason. I had to experience that and be able to let go of it, and know that these kind of interactions are going to occur, that everybody isn't necessarily going to grasp right on to what it is that you're bringing to them. There will be some resistance with some people. And so, but I feel like even though there is, that a little crack has been made, and that maybe something leaked, and it might take a number of years or weeks or whatever it might be, and then something else might cross their path, and then it happens for them. So that's kind of where I like to keep my focus. But it is good for me to have those experiences, because there's part of Robin that wants perfection, that wants to make sure that everything is always to someone's benefit, and that they need to get. But there again, that's me wanting something for somebody else, and that isn't the way to do it. That it has to be the person wanting it, and being ready to receive it. Sometimes they're not, sometimes they are.
Well, chances are they wouldn't have been dealing with you if at some level there is a benefit for them in that. And as you say, it may take months or years before that comes to light for them. And I've certainly noticed myself and others, when listening to channeled information, sometimes it doesn't appear to make a lot of sense right away. But you listen to it a second time, or you visit it a few months down the road, and that's what they meant, or it begins to make sense. So
it's kind of beginning, I would say, when I first got onto a spiritual path, probably in my early 20s, I started reading a lot of spiritual books by various authors, and just couldn't get enough, just reading and reading and reading everything that I could. And it was funny how your consciousness gradually started to expand, because I would get the same concepts maybe 3 to 5 years later, and then the light would go on. But I had read it, so many years ahead, and it just didn't make sense to me, or it didn't filter in the way that it did later, So it is a building process. It's like this gradual thing that happens, that it can be over a period. For me, it was a period of 25 years, really, for this to occur, and it's still occurring. You're never done. It's not like you do this and you automatically just know everything and do everything right. I'm still doing stupid things, saying stupid things, and I hear them coming out of my own mouth and think, why am I doing that? So I think it's good in a way for people to see this side of me, and to know that nobody's perfect. Anybody that's pretending to be is pretending. It's not. I mean, everybody's
Yeah, as an author, that's very true. I wrote 3 different books on metaphysical concepts or spirituality, and each one of them was kind of, this is what I understand now, and 3 or 4 years later, there's more to it. And I think I've learned that anytime I think I really understand some of these metaphysical concepts. There's just about always more to it, and or deeper levels. So yes, that journey goes on and on. Well, Robin, I guess you and I can have this conversation for a long time, but we need to spend a little time with Athena. So would you please, or would you be able and willing to bring her in now?
There is no wait time, Peter, as you know. Robin is conscious channeler, and it means conscious channeler means that we are always here, you see, that we do not need a time to adjust or to come in. And we have talked about Robin's faith, yes, and her body moving, and this is one of the reasons, you see. We reside in her, alongside of her, with her. We are not interfering with her life. We are not intruding. I know we have had conversation with you. Does Robin have any privacy? And she certainly does, you see. There is nothing that we would do that would not be in agreement with this one.
Good. Well, welcome to this interview. And we hope we have a big audience. And I'm sure whatever audience we have, they'd be very curious to know about you, who you are. And tell us also a little about the one we know as sort of the mythological Athena, who was around the time of what we call ancient Greece. So tell us about that and what you're doing here these days.
To some degree, we would tell you, Robin called me to herself, you see. I am the first being that approached her, even though we did not speak. I took her body, you see. She was having a thought, a contemplation, a deep one, about why it was that she lacked some confidence. She wanted to bolster this in herself. She could not understand it, you see. She is a competitive athlete in some sports, and she also would feel it in her everyday life, you see. And what it boiled down to, Peter, was she had never really experienced what it felt like to be confident, to know it, to feel it, you see. And I, as Athena, this mythological being that you are talking about, you see, I breathed her in that moment. And in that breath, I took her head back, yes. I sat her up and I pushed out her chest, you see, and I let her feel the power of what it is to feel confident, you see. She will never forget it. It is something she could never have done to herself. I assisted her with it, you see. And in my lifetimes and all that I have lived, I have given you the one, yes, of Athena, because it is one that humans like to hear about, you see. But we would tell you that you have all had many lives, and many were of great meaning. Many of you have been, in your terms, human terms, famous or well-known or remarkable, you see. We find every human to be remarkable, not just one that you find remarkable, you see. But we have brought this being forth as the lifetime to support Robin in her desire, really, to have more confidence, you see.
Yes, we were talking earlier about the benefits of channeling, and self-confidence is one that we didn't talk about, but clearly most channelers, I think, are feeling that.
Absolutely. Yes. We would tell you, for Robin, this is one of the biggest confidence experiences and boosters that she has ever had, you see. For her to do this on her own would have been difficult, you see. And I am assisting her, and we would tell you, in her feeling us or me in her body as she is, her confidence is rising, even in her everyday life, you see, because sometimes a human has to allow, and we would say allow, themselves to experience that which they are wanting. You have to open yourself to this possibility of having this desire filled, you see.
Yes, you're starting to get into the area of manifestation, and I know that's a big part of why you're here, but would you explain to our audience what your purpose in being here really is?
We have talked about it, Peter. We are wanting humans to become self-actualized. And what does that mean? It means that they know, you see, they believe that they are the creator, that they are the one that is drawing the experiences to themselves, that are giving them the life that they have, you see. And how do they do this? They live their life. They have desires. And from those desires, the whole expands to the highest vibratory level of the experience that you are living, you see. And then what was your job? You wanted to experience it on the material plane. In order for you to do that, you have to move out of the blame, the shame, the guilt, any human experience that you might be having that is causing these types of emotions, you see, are common or acceptable to some degree. It is what being human is, you see. But a human deems them as wrong, they deem them as bad, they start to hang on to them. And we keep telling humans to let them flow through them. And what we mean by that is to accept this human part of them, to accept the contrast, to know that it will never stop, it will never go away, you will never stop emoting. You will not, you see. But what you can do is you can allow it to be what it is and not attach to it. And then you can remember the creator that you are launching desires, that you are actually doing that which you came here to do just by living, you see. And in this way, you can raise your vibratory level. And when you do this, all that you have had the experiences of that have expanded already, that are already part of the high part of you, you see, can be manifested to the material plane. This is the information that we want humans to understand. We want them to become creators. We don't want them at the mercy of others. We don't want them at the mercy of religion. We want them to know they are the religion, you see.
That is a great message. And I know you're going to elaborate on that over the course of time as we go forward. But how did humans get into that situation where we underestimate ourselves? We don't believe we are the creator. We don't believe we are capable of the things you're telling us we are capable of. How do we get
it's funny. We had a session, yesterday with a nice young gentleman. And we talked about just this, you see. And in his self-doubt, in his not intelligent enough, in his worry of himself, you see, he was the creator, you see. A light went on for him when we said to him, you have a choice, you see. You can believe all of this thing and you can create this for yourself. You can become these things that you are afraid of or fearful of, you see, and then never be able to draw to yourself this higher aspect that is waiting to be drawn, we would tell you. So he became aware of the creator he was in the negative, you see. And that was a big eye-opener for him. And he thought, wow, if I can create negativity, if I can create the idea that I am nothing, if I can create the idea that I am not smart, you see, I can go the other way. This was a great aha moment. And we know that it sounds quite simple, but it is simple, you see. People are manifesting all the time. Every single moment that they are having a thought, they are manifesting, but they are out reading books. They are looking for information. They are looking for coaches and for people to teach them. And what they really need to be taught is how to feel good. Once you feel good, everything that you have already created will come into your life. It is that simple.
that aha moment? For most humans, I suspect, is pretty rare. You know, we've got all our personal history and circumstances going on around us that teach us, I think, a lot of what we believe. And that seems to fly in the face of what you're saying. And I don't doubt what you're saying. I'm just saying that that's not easy for somebody to just change their belief in the face of all of their history. So how do they do that?
We are the teachers of your emotional guidance system, you see. And a human certainly knows when they are not feeling good. Most of the time, we would say all of the time, when they are creating negatively or in a way that is not in support of self or what one is wanting, they are not going to feel good, you see. Once a human starts to hear the truth, and what we are giving you is the truth, yes, that they are the creator of their life, that they can have the wonderful life that they want to, you see, that they have to pay attention to how it is that they are feeling and moving in every moment of their life, things will start to get better and they will start to believe in themselves. There is really what happens is a plug goes in, a click or a connect will happen. And it does take some time. Robin would tell you that she spent years in study, in reading, in investigating different things, you see. And until Athena actually breathed her, she never really got the click, you see. She never really felt like she plugged in, you see. And what we are doing in our transmissions is we are assisting those with their plugs. Yes, we are trying to get them to put the plug into the wall. Yes, and we are telling you, many are. Each time that we are having these sessions, we are getting there, you see. We move at a rapid rate and at a high energy level. We have ability really to infuse a human with this belief in self, in this energy that we are carrying with us, you see. It is one of the reasons that we came. It is our work here that we are wanting to do. And we want humans to accept, really, that they aren't just human, that this is such a small portion, really, of the magnificence that they are. And when they connect to this high self, when they start to see the manifestation and the change in their lives because of the change in the way that they are moving, the plug will get into the wall in a hurry, we would tell you.
Mm-hmm. So one of the keys then is to find those thoughts and actions that make us feel good.
We would not even say that, Peter, because that can become a little bit of a struggle. And then we had a human, they can start to condemn. They will read all of this information. They will get all these ideas about how they should act, how they should think, yes? And then when they're not doing it, they start going down that road of condemning, you see. And then there they are in resistance again, you see. You have to just live your life and know that it's okay to make a mistake, that the only mistake a human ever makes is thinking that they are going to be perfect. Perfection is just living and having the experience and expanding the whole because of it. It's not doing it without any negative resistance, but it's learning to not hang on to it, you see. Let it go, have the experience, see it for what it is, and send it on its way, you see. And then move back into the good feeling spot. Forgive yourself, really. Love yourself for even attempting to do this, to come onto this kind of 3D reality, emotional plane that you are on, is a difficult task, we would tell you, to experience all of the whiplash of the ups and the downs. Yes, they are going to come. But then what would happen is people think that they can think themselves into being positive. But what happens when you start forgiving, when you start loving, when you start letting the experience be what it is, you get infused with this high aspect, this God self, this source that is really you. And then you stop doing it even more. You start to be that. You start to be the God in the human form, you see. It'll be that simple. There's no work to do. You just have to stop the negativity of the judgment of self. And as you do this, the high self will join you and it will do all of the work for you, you see.
So we've put all these labels of good and bad and negative and positive that are greatly interfering with recognizing what we really are.
Absolutely you are. Because when you have this negative experience, what is born from it, we have said this before in our recordings, you see, is a desire for something better. How can that be a bad thing?
Yeah.
We are not saying that humans should go around disrespecting or not living lives that are respectable. This is not the point that we are making, you see. But what we are telling you in the acceptance of your human form and in the love of self when a mistake is made and the recognition of the mistake, you see, and then letting it go and aligning to the high self, you become infused with the higher vibratory level, which will increase and improve your conduct upon the earth plane.
I've heard a number of people say that there's really no good or no bad. It's all experience. But there is an exception to that, and that is violating another, not just human being, but violating another anything pretty much. Would you comment on that? Have I got that reasonably on track?
We would say one would want to probably shoot us in our foot, Peter, to not be compassionate and say that one who has violated another is in some way worse than one that has cheated someone out of their money, you see. But we would tell you once again that what is born from this violation is the desire for no one ever to be violated again, you see. It is the exact opposite of what you humans believe. These ones that are having the experience, we know that you sent Robin some questions, and at a later date, she would like to go over them. We would, yes, again with you in a little bit more detail. But what we are telling you is that there is nothing that is happening upon this earth plane that is bad that you are going to get us to agree with you on, yes? That everything is expanding in your favor because of it, you see? And that all you need do is infuse yourself with that high vibratory level of all that is, all that you are, to experience it here on the earth plane. And to some degree, it is happening. It is what they call the quickening or the raising of the vibratory earth. There is a tipping point now where many humans are coming into this knowledge that we are discussing here today. And as this happens, you see, as the majority of your population starts to know that they are the creator, that they are the love, yes, that they are this magnificence, it starts to tip. You see, and then it starts to speed up. Manifestations start to speed up. People start to manifest at a much quicker rate. We would tell you if you are on the other side, you're in some trouble because it is going to go the other way, that way as well, you see.
We have a lot of teachers who tell us about the law of attraction. And in my estimation, some of them are missing the mark or leaving things out. They're not quite getting it right. Overall, what's your comment on that?
We would agree with you. We would tell you what we think manifestation is. It is not sitting in a corner thinking something over and over again and then thinking, now I'm in love and I'm going to wait for it to come, you see. It is about the feeling of that which you are wanting, you see. We'll give you an example. We will be brief because we know we are getting windy. Yes? Robin has, you see, he is a creator of music. He loves it, his passion, yes? And then oftentimes he is wondering, how will he make money at this? How will this be what it is that he wants from it, yes? But then what happened, Peter? He got into this feeling, this love place, the enjoyment of it, the doing it for the thrill of it, you see, putting out his desires for the way he wanted to feel, you see. How do I feel when I am doing this? What is the feeling I get when I am allowed to do my passion, the thing that I love to do, what I want to share with the world, you see? And as he did this, the most strange things started to flow into his life. And we have talked about this. Magical worlds, other alternative realities that are being invested in, that are above the earth plane, you see. Avatars of himself that are walking around and being paid for advertisement of clothes upon his body, you see. The things that came to him in the same feeling, we would tell you that he was wanting, would stagger you, really. He would never have believed that this would be his way of making a living, and he is making a living doing it in a wild way, we would tell you. And this is what we would tell a human. Stop putting a boundary around it. Stop thinking that you have to ask for the business that you are in to be successful. Stop thinking that it is going to come in a way exactly that you are asking. It is going to come in a way that fulfills the feeling that you are asking for. This is something that we feel has been left out of the manifestation conversations. They talk a lot about having what you want, but think about how it makes you feel. That is the best advice that we would ever give one. Some of the best manifestations and the quickest that are ever made in the world are when one just sit and get into the feeling place.
And that feeling would raise your vibration, I imagine.
Because it is your passion.
Yeah. And does that vibration then rise to the point where it meets that which you want?
We would tell you, as you rise your vibratory level to the level that all that is being everything that has ever been thought, yes? Then every thought you have ever had is now available to you, you see.
Mm-hmm. That's a whole other topic, about where thoughts come from. But I don't think we have time for that. What I'd appreciate, Athena, if you would, is you've covered a lot of ground here, and I don't want you to repeat yourself, but I'm just wondering if there is anything further that you would like to leave us with at this time.
One thing we want to be noted for, yes, we are a bunch in truth, you see, and sometimes truth is hard to take, we would tell you, but we have ability to really assist a human in becoming more. And if we were to put it in a nutshell, Robin is pulling, yes? This is our greatest desire, not only to have you become more, to become all that you can be, you see. It is so much more than many humans are living. We want them to have access, really, to the power and to the knowledge and to the wisdom that is already in there, and to use it to their benefit and to the world's benefit.
A final question. What do you get out of this?
Oh, we are ecstatic about being able to use Robin as our vehicle. Yes, it is Robin is searching for the word. It is an anomaly a little bit, yes, to find one that you are likened to. Her energy level, her sense of humor, yes, her goodness, really. All of it is a perfect match to us. And we would tell you that any channeler that is channeling, there is going to be that type of connect or magic, really, that occurs for it to be at its highest degree. And I think you would agree, Peter, in the exchanges that we've had, they've not been many yet, we are going to have more, that you leave the table uplifted and you feel excited about the next meeting that we will have.
Yes. Well, this has been very uplifting, and the content is so rich. I know we're going to be revisiting this recording frequently. It'll be on my website and YouTube, and we hope a lot of people tune in. Thank you very much for doing this, and many blessings to you.
We have enjoyed this interaction. We feel greatly privileged to be part of your website, yes, and we are most grateful that Robin has connected to you.
Oh, thank you. Well, bye for now. We'll see you soon. Robin, welcome back, and thank you for that. How do you feel?
You're welcome. I feel completely normal. This form of channeling that I do, we have been told it's conscious channeling, so they're in here all the time, so there's no lapse or wait or me going to get them. If I yawn, they move my face in different directions. It's like they're part of me. That's the way I would explain it. It's not that I can't operate independently as Robin I am right now, but if I were to give them any form of permission or start to think about them, then immediately they would start to communicate, and I would be consciously out as they do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, Robin, I hope a lot of people see this. And I know you have plans for doing many more recordings of various kinds. You have some already on Spotify. And I'm sure you're going to be doing events for large numbers of people, as well as individuals who would like individual sessions with Athena. If people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
I have a new website developed. It's called www.athenaintruth.com. All of the information is on there. There are scheduling system on there for private sessions. It has a link to my Anchor podcast, which, as you said, is on Spotify, and I think on Apple it's on there too. So there are a number of places that they can listen. And then, of course, on your website, Peter, you can mention that as we go on here. You have a couple of recordings that I've done on there, so people can get a little bit of a flavor for what it is that my group does. And yeah, I do plan to do more of it. I know we have talked before about this, and that you said that there are some channelers that decide to just use it for their friends and family. And I would say in the beginning, first month or two, I did that, but hasn't taken long for them to really encourage me and want to move forward with it. So that's one of the reasons I've connected to you, is for you to facilitate some groups, get me used to that a little bit. I'm very comfortable in private sessions because that personal level of communication is really their expertise. And so I'm interested to see how it will go in a group. It'll be interesting to see how they respond to questions coming from all different energies instead of just tapping into the one person that's in front of them.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it always is interesting. And yeah, certainly and I'm sure others look forward to many more of your messages and broadcasts. At the same time, Athena has been telling me I should plug myself a little bit too. So I just want to mention at this time that I am a facilitator of channelers, which means really I help individuals become channelers if that's what they'd like to do. And I help some channelers just develop that skill a little bit and perhaps take it to the public. So you can see more about this on my website. And in just a minute, our contact information is going to come up on the screen. And I guess if people can go from there. So Robin, I want to thank you very much for doing this. This has been enlightening, very pleasant, and kind of a teaser for things to come. Thank you.
You're welcome, Peter. And I'd like to thank you. It's very important for me to have someone like you to pose these questions that, you know, you can do it with family members and friends, but there is this element of it being someone that's not that tightly connected to you that's really helpful, and it's almost easier for me to remove myself when it's with someone that's more of an acquaintance rather than someone you're deeply invested in. Not that we maybe won't become deeply invested as friends, but right now it's just kind of what I needed, I think, at this point of my development.
Oh, I'm pleased to hear that. Thank you. Thanks very much. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Bye for now.